Alrighty. Echo Isles has loaded. We are in the beautiful yellow on the left-hand side of Echo Isles from New Zealand. The brother of Say So, it's Ceron. And the man who lost a bet over his hair with Todd, but many people call him the best micro in NA from Canada for Oceanus Gaming. It's iNSUPERABLE. Goddamn, Carson, I didn't fuck it up. This gotta be good.
Just absolutely perfect, and the games are going to be 45 minutes each. The gold mines are going to run out. We're going to see level 10 heroes. We're going to see every ultimate in the game. Alchemist ultimate, Naga ultimate, Pit Lord ultimate. We're going to see them all, and it's only game one. I guarantee you, chat, you're going to see all this, but we are definitely going to see a Death Knight out of iNSUPERABLE and a Keeper of the Grove out of Ceron here.
Okay, that's not too crazy if you ask me. We've seen kind of a resurgence of the Keeper, especially since Moon did some stuff with him at WGL, like Keeper, Hans, Mass, Air. So far, we don't see any signs of Hans. We see a normal engine of war here at the green. So, you think he's gonna harass after the green?
That would be a very OC-esque, wouldn't it? We could see...
Yeah.
Some sort of a level 2 creep into maybe we see it very commonly an expansion put down here behind the harassment. But also what Ceron has to look out for in this matchup is the possibility of a fast expansion that's become very common for the Undeads to do here. And Echo Isles is a very good expansion map, as we just saw in Cruncher against Duck. So what's one thing INSUP could do is go for a fast expo into a 2 Crypt Garg tech. But we'll have to see. He's selling his town portal, but that could be relatively standard, buying a sacrificial skull. That seems to look like an expansion, Neil.
All right. I mean, some undeads like Michael, for example, use them to creep the middle as well. This could be a sneaky little thing to do if your opponent doesn't expect it. But yeah, ghouls in the hands of INSUP is a thing of beauty. We saw it in the qualifiers. His pressure with them, his control, his surrounds is godlike. And I wonder if he keeps his nerves together, if he can break the surround record that Vortex did today against Neutron. I lost track, I'm very bad at counting. Vortex surrounded probably 15 times, but there's definitely potential for INSUP to get on that level. Let's see how Ceron plays against it.
Oh my god, okay, this is a dual crypt rush from iNSUPERABLE here. He got the sacrificial skull, which is actually pretty smart. It can be dispelled by a wisp, but you don't have a bunch of wisps when you're dealing with this sort of pressure. And this is something INSUP actually does very commonly in best of threes. He'll throw some sort of cheese in. And is Ceron ready for this? Looks like not. He's halfway across the map with not even level 2 yet. Oh, this is rough.
No green spot for him, no safety. Maybe he was looking for the undead. There are quite a few detonates here against the skeleton that burns a lot of mana of the DK, but there's almost no wisp anymore to kill the sacrificial skull. So how do you react, Ceron? You need engines of war if you don't expect this to be double crypt rush, but I mean by the amount of ghouls you should definitely expect it by now. And you know what, ghouls, they love to shred moonwells.
Are under attack.
Yeah, and he's seen 6 ghouls at this time. Or sorry, yeah, he's seen 6 ghouls now. So he would have had none at home and not been able to tech. So he has to know at this point that it is 2 crypt, 1 ghoul going down, 1 archer traded, but that's the aura on the Death Knight. And you said, how is Ceron going to respond? He's building a tree of life to the south, but he's losing a moonwell, going to use that supply in the future. But right now, the resource is not really being invested in the right place, but Huntresses are going to be really helpful for Ceron here, but he needs more Moonwells.
Yeah, the Hunts definitely with AoE super helpful. They're also way more tanky. What a detonate! All these skeletons fall to dust. But you see it here, good micro by INSUP, but loses 1 to the Entangle, but that's the last bit of mana for the Keeper of the Grove. Getting up to level 2.6 though. Feels like he's stabilizing a little.
Yeah, a little bit short on Moon Juice, but the Keeper's still healthy. It is out of mana, but with these Huntresses, you don't need the catch of the Entangle. You can just simply run after them if they're lacking the aura from the Death Knight here. And the Tree of Life is going up unscouted, because despite the amount of pressure Ceron is under, INSUP is the one doing the pressure, so he can't scout too much with these ghouls right now. And now we see INSUP going to tech. The nice thing about teching after a 2 crypt rush is you can just tech into gargoyles, and you need those 2 crypts anyway, but this is a good start from Ceron, a very clean defense there.
Yeah, he definitely weathered the storm. So I wonder how this transition is gonna look like. For Ceron, there's no tier 2 tech yet. Insup could overwhelm a little. The good thing about Hunts, we pointed that out, they're a little tankier. They do AoE. But the bad thing about them is they can't shoot up. And against gargoyles, you definitely need something that can shoot up or does area of effect damage like a panda. But without tier 2, that's rough. So is it one of the patented surrounds by Insup so far? Ceron glitches out of it.
Slippery, slippery boy. He's got 4 legs, manages to get out of the horse's surround, but the Expo has been scouted by a skeleton earlier from Insup, so he knows what's up, but he knows he doesn't have to push right away. It still has to be crept, it still has to be rooted and entangled, and has to build wisps. And you know, Ceron did detonate a lot of wisps earlier, so he's going to need to rebuild those from the tree, but he's got a decent amount of huntresses to deal with any ghoul pressure. Insup's probably going to have to wait for tier 2 here to really do anything about this expansion.
Do you think you wanted to make an impression and just finish the game in 4 minutes?
That would be very NA DreamHack style, wouldn't it?
Definitely. In the qualifiers, Insup had one of the shortest games we've seen against Kaiser. Shout out Kaiser. The absolute destruction on Last Refuge. But yeah, Ceron definitely a worthy opponent here.
They held on. He's getting his tech going now. He's creeping his tree of life so it can root. He's got a decent amount of moon walls at home that he did lose 1 earlier, which does hurt in the early game. But Ceron's stabilizing, and Insup is really put in the driver's seat for how to react to this strategy here. You see actually Insup unsummoning one of his crypts, so probably going to go into a more standard style of play here. Transitioning into some fiends here, probably going to get a slaughterhouse and the lich on the way out, and the tier 3 tech. So just a standard game after a 2 crypt rush out of Insup here.
That's weird. Usually that expansion should be very expensive, but if you sell the crypt, you get at least something back. Ghouls are never really bad against Night Elf, so this could still work. It was risky to do that, but it wasn't an all-in as he quickly realized, okay, this is not gonna end the game. Let's back off, let's carry this to the late. I will outshine him there. T2 by Ceron is out as well, and he still commits to the hunts.
Yeah, this is a level 3 Keep of the Grove. Is that a level 2 Entangle? It is, and there's no destroyers for, you know, at least another minute and a half for Insup here, so it's going to be really hard for him to get out of his base, especially with the Keep of the Grove. That has a lot of mana, but the Surround will definitely get him out of his face. Really nicely done there from Insup. That's what he needed to get some stuff done, but 1 Fiend possibly going to go down. Really nice coil. It's still entangled, and it's still level 2 Entangle. Could be falling here. Nice coil to save it. Really nicely done there from Insup. That was the only way to get Ceron out of his face there.
Yeah, really good Warcraft displayed by these 2 players. We got a Potion of Mana by Insup as well. Now that this item is a little cheaper, you can afford it easier. He has the Slaughterhouse up already, so this delays the statue a bit, but it saves him a lot of time. If you build the statue and wait for the regen, your opponent has pure map control, and there's these 2 unique spots at 12 and 6 o'clock, and you really can't give it over to your opponent, because then of course you will be out leveled. That's not what you want against the Keeper of the Grove. So I'm curious, looking at Ceron's base as he's approaching tier 2, what's the transition?
Yeah, lots of options. He has that Huntress Hall, so he could go in to some sort of Dryad Bear composition, but you also mentioned before the Moon style, the Mass Air, but he's lacking archers for those Hippogriff Riders, but could go into Fairy Dragons possibly. There's no TP on this Keeper of the Grove right now. He's going to get some Fiend pickoffs, actually maybe a couple. And is that Keeper going to get away? It is, and this is 2 Fiends going down right now. Huge pickoffs for Ceron here, and Insup's forced back into his base again, probably.
Ceron getting quite some kills here, and yeah, the new Moon style is just skip the Hippo Riders. They're gonna get Novad anyway, or webbed down. Just go Fairy Dragons. The damage just tickles, but if you have an expansion, you can support them in masses, rise up to like 70 supply, maybe get an upgrade or 2, and if there's too many Fiends, the Hunters can deal with it. If you single them out, you get Treant support as well, plus an... Oh, it's a Naga? I expected an Alchemist here, but Naga.
I guess Ceron realizes he's quite a bit ahead and can continue to pressure Insup back into his base. Very few creeps on this map, especially with the 12 o'clock being almost crept out entirely by Insup earlier. So with this Naga, he can really pressure with that Cold Arrow, and you're absolutely right about the tech. One Ancient Wind going down in the base, a little bit short on the lumber because of the 2 crit pressure earlier, but it's going to get that second wind down, I imagine, relatively soon. And this will be Fairy Dragons here, Neil.
I like that. It's on the pulse of time for sure. This is becoming more and more the meta on certain maps. It's not easy to play against that. You need great micro, but you also, like, this is one thing that you like need to practice. Oh, great surround here. This is a very specific kind of micro that you need with the web and move back and then attack and then move back again, web, yada yada yada. You need this kind of rhythm for that not too many players can pull off, and if you slip lead there a little, the hunters just destroy your ground.
Yeah, for sure. And we've seen a couple of epic games. 120 versus Moon comes to mind, where 120 just kites from the expansion all the way back to his main base, re-pushes the expansion, kites all the way back to his main base, has like 3 potions of mana on his Death Knight, and it takes some real special micro, like you say, to deal with that. But now we got 2 Fiends, we got the Destroyer tech in, so we can deal with that entangle of Ceron. And he's looking to push right now with some good micro. He could pull it off. He's got full mana on his Death Knight, a lot of coils, but this is going to take something special for INSUP to really do any sort of damage here with the amount of Huntresses and the air now coming in.
What's the third hero? Is it Tinker? Dark Ranger.
Very interesting. Maybe just for the Black Arrow. I mean, Tinker can't really shoot up, so I guess it's helpful against the mass air.
Rockets.
Don't get it so much.
Yeah, rockets against fairies is of course not the greatest idea, but if you need some damage against buildings, and the Pocket Factory could come into play. What does the Dark Ranger really provide? You don't get skeletons if you kill air, and to kill a mass of hunters is not that easy.
Yeah, not really sure. You can silence the wisps so they can't detonate, which can be helpful at times, but really for that to be the whole reason for your third hero. But maybe he just is afraid of anything dying that he picks up if it isn't an undead hero that can be coiled. But big Nova coming in, 3 Huntresses is about to go down. Is there an Entangle ready? There definitely is a Devour Magic ready if Ceron goes for that. The Huntress is trying to get surface area here. Decent webs, but there's not a big number of Fiends right now, so the kiting has to be perfect here for INSUP.
Yeah, there's definitely the mass for Ceron. Is it enough, though? A couple of Hunters are falling, still 57 supply, and now he's exchanging these ground unit Hunters against more and more and more Fairy Dragons. They're easy to produce, they're kind of cheap, they're fast. Nice Invo Potion to save the Naga. More Hunters are falling. Can he get the revenge kill? No, because there's a coil, and there's no solution against this Destroyer.
Yeah, has INSUP even lost a unit yet? Maybe a ghoul or two, but the Fiends are really the key point here. You cannot lose these Fiends. Now he might lose a couple, but the Naga kind of not staffed out there. A little sloppy from Ceron. Might get a Fiend for his troubles, but really nice micro for INSUP so far. Only lost 1 Fiend when he was completely out of mana. 1 more Entangle, actually going to lose a 2nd Fiend here, possibly. But the Destroyer, nice Devour. There it is. And so far, so good for INSUP. A couple Fairies going to the main base, chasing that Destroyer, but is the tower enough to deal with those? It doesn't look like it. Maybe a Destroyer going to go down here for INSUP.
Okay, with good movement and good multitasking, he could get a coil. Does he even have the mana for it? Yes, he does now. And level 4 DK, this is ultra helpful in this very case, because you're kind of relying on your movement speed, and level 4 gives you level 2 Unholy Aura, that gives you 20% extra movement speed. It just micros so much easier with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the level 2 Dark Ranger coming in could be one of the few games where we see life drain, but I guess he'll just go for that silence anyway. I'm still a little bit confused by this, but right now, we're going to see INSUP go for that counter expansion. We have seen in the past against the strategy 2 Crypt Fiends, just lots and lots of Fiends with only 1 Destroyer that's well microed. We do see INSUP breaking that rule already with a couple of Destroyers, but not the worst army composition at the moment. But the more and more Fairies there is, the harder it becomes to kite, the more Fiends you need. So I would like to see INSUP eventually go into a 2nd Crypt here. But right now, 58 supply against 66. INSUP does have the stronger army, but there is a bigger army for Ceron.
Maybe Ceron needs a little bit more time, but he also is supply stuck at 70. But there, this trap from the right-hand side, the Wisp detonate, absolutely glorious! Burning all the mana of the DK, forcing the mana potion immediately, got rid of all the skeletons. This was absolutely exquisite. The Destroyer might be falling with a good focus fire, and he definitely gets that off. Mana is definitely an issue for INSUP, and he doesn't want to fight, but he has to try the hero focus. But there was the staff, and there was a wasted coil.
Yeah, that was beautiful. iNSUP just going for the hero focus. He knows he probably can't win this fight. Nice silence there. Not really going to allow that entangle to come through on the Death Knight to disallow that aura. But there is no coil. There's no Nova. There's no way to nuke these heroes out. But the Huntresses on their own don't really do much, especially with the statue healing in the back. But look at all the fairy dragons. TP out. Maybe Dark Ranger going to go down. There's no coil. There is a decent Devour. Oh, the Dark Ranger, 32 hit points at the end there. But not a bad fight for Ceron. Managed to save that Naga Sea Witch with a crucial staff there.
That was pretty sick. He was preparing these wisps for a little bit already, and it could have served a double purpose. Like, if there's no fight, if they're just left alone, he can build an AP or an Engine of War, trying to pressure this expansion without an actual army to keep iNSUP busy. Or if there's a fight, he does exactly what he did right here. Sneaky, sneaky backstab and detonating so much. That was the key moment of the game so far.
For sure, yeah. One thing we were missing from Arc yesterday was, of course, those sort of detonates. And I love to see that Ceron's going for more of these sort of plays. And now iNSUP was just 51 supply, now 54, but very short on gold. Still hasn't saturated his Haunted Gold Mine. And he doesn't have the gold to really get heal scrolls or anything. He does get the invuln, which is crucial, but the Death Knight caught out of position, and there's, you know, a little bit of tickle damage, but it might just be enough to force that invuln, yeah? And can the Keeper of the Grove keep up? He does have an entangle. This could get sketchy here for iNSUP.
Super risky. This one Destroyer is pretty much a life insurance for this DK. Moves back now. The Destroyer is gone. The Fiend is safe. The second one is absolutely not. And Ceron pushing forward now. Under the shade of the tower, can he somehow survive this? For the DK, it really doesn't look good. 100 HP, and now the DK is out of the fight, so let's switch the focus to another one. Dark Ranger in trouble. DK miles and miles away, can't really support anything anymore. And I talked about how important this Unholy Aura is for the movement speed. Without it, this makes it so hard to micro, and the Lich is the #1 damage dealer, and he's down. Level 5 for the Keeper of the Grove. This might be the first big surprise at the American qualifier, as Ceron is just killing everything.
Yeah, and these are 2-0 fairy dragons and 75 supply of them, and there's the GG. And this is a hard army to fight against if you're iNSUP. We say he's got the best micro around, but you know, it takes something really special to deal with that army. And Ceron, with the cool strategy, I like to see it, pulls out the game 1 after defending that 2 crypt very cleanly.
Yeah,
nice.
I think it wasn't like the craziest strategy that we were talking about prior to the game. It wasn't the Pit Lord first or like Tinker Rush or whatever, but meta and a really good execution. Soul Glider, are you as surprised as I am?
Honestly, I know how good Ceron is. I have seen him play standard, and sometimes he just plays perfect. Too often though, he plays random, like Say So their main races can kind of fall behind a little bit on playing meta. So that's kind of why they like a lot of crazy strategies. But his practice has been paying off, and I can tell he's just been playing Night Elf. And he is really, really on point today. Slipping some of these surrounds, although iNSUP still got one later. Really good macro. Yeah, I think he's playing out of his mind right now, and we're really seeing what these A and Z guys are capable of.
Yeah, definitely peak performance right here. I really hope he can carry this performance into map number 2. It's gonna be Last Refuge, Carson. Is that gonna be a very different game from Echo Isles?
We could see a very similar strategy. It's still got that easy expansion. You can still get it very early for Ceron. You can still see 2 Crypt Ghoul pressure if you're iNSUP. I doubt he'll do it again, though. So, you know, Ceron has all the cards in his hand right now. He can do the same strategy. He could change it up if you want. A lot of different strategies for Night Elf in this matchup. But for iNSUP, I think he's got to try something different. Can't go for that early pressure. It was so easily defended there. I think Ceron really has his number in that regard. So maybe a change up for iNSUP. Ceron, do whatever you want, man. It's looking good.
The freaking balls of Ceron planting a Tree of Life when you have a double Crypt Ghoul rush against you. Like,
yeah, I was looking at that and I was like, wait, I thought it might have been some kind of proxy second Ancient of War. Yeah. And it's like, wait, it's a Tree of Life?
Yeah.
What is he doing?
Absolutely my thought. I didn't want to take the camera away from the actual fight, and then Carson said, he's dropping a Tree of Life. Like, Carson, what the fuck? This can't be right. But, of course, Carson is right. Carson is always right.
Thank you.
And
I am.
that's why you're here, right? Dude, INSUP facing the lower bracket. Soul Glider, any last thoughts before we move on to LR?
I'm just really excited about this map. It would be crazy if Ceron ends up taking this 2-0. So I just can't wait to watch it.
Okay, the ANZ region cheering for Ceron, taking a map as pretty much the underdog, maybe. We're loading in, we're almost there. And okay, we're loaded up, Last Refuge. The big name, maybe the nerves are getting to him. In the bottom left, down a map. In the red for Canada, it's iNSUPERABLE. And after a wonderful, wonderful game one where he showed great defensive and offensive potential for New Zealand in the yellow, it's Ceron. Alrighty, Carson, we are ready. Is this gonna be the next 2-0 in the Americas, but maybe for the underdog this time?
Yeah, I think this would be the upset of the tournament if Ceron manages to pull this through, and this would be absolutely incredible for his region, and I'm sure his brother will be hyped to see he's up 1-0. This is yeah, quite the underdog story if he manages to pull out the 2-0, and we're gonna see similar openings for both players. We'll have to wait and see if INSUP's going for that double crypt again. He is opening with the same exact build, but you know, this can transition into a much more standard game than last. But the Keeper of the Grove, again, for Ceron, sticking to his guns, sticking to what works, and I don't blame him here.
Absolutely. Why would you? It's not that easy to get him to level 3 on this map, but still definitely a lot of potential. And what do we see from iNSUPERABLE? It's again double Ziggurat. It's again a DK. It's again a ghoul build, as you said. Will we see the second crypt once more? That would be some balls, man. But we've seen it a little bit from players who start into the big stage of competitive Warcraft. The first map they play, they're still a little shaky. The nerves are getting to them. But once they load into game 2, they get used to the feeling, and then their performance just explodes. Maybe that's the case for iNSUPERABLE here as well.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of one time TH 3 Militia Tower Rush Moon twice in a best of 5, 2 games in a row. And he ended up going 1-1. He won the first game, then lost the second game. So if we see 2 crypt, giving me shades of TH here back in 2008. But at the moment, doesn't look like he's going into that. I think he would have already put the crypt down by now. But we still have opportunities for a fast expansion with these 2 Ziggurat Ghoul openings.
Oh, so, my God. There was a coil by iNSUP onto that Wisp. He wanted to prevent that detonate, but Ceron just moves it into a building and detonates that. Wisp costs a few resources, but it's another big exclamation mark. Like, hey man, my micro today is absolutely on point and you can't touch me.
Yeah, and doing that to iNSUP too, the guy that normally does those sorts of flashy plays too. Have to see what iNSUP's response is here. Could possibly respond by getting an archer, but gonna lose a ghoul in the back potentially. There is one coil left, but a lot more entangles where that first one came from. But the ghoul's reinforced and risk the surround, and Ceron knows how capable iNSUP is with these. So he's just gonna start to back off, gonna maybe pull the creep so there's no ghouls around to get ensnared. And what's the follow-up for both players here? We see Huntresses again for Ceron. iNSUPERABLE, Graveyard, Teching. No 2 crypt, no expansion.
Okay. Now I'm curious if he wants to play Gargs or not. We see they're becoming kind of fashion on this map. We see Ceron, though, with a lot of eyes on the map. He has Wisp's position on all the important spots. Now moves an archer to the north as well. And maybe stealing... well, not stealing, but taking some camps here. Being sure that iNSUP will leave him alone for a bit.
Yeah, difficult for Ceron here. He doesn't have the Treants yet on level 2, but once he kills his Ogre Magi with that nice entangle, he will get that level 2. But with Huntresses reinforcing, going to be able to do a little bit, but there's now a Death Knight here. Not quite a coil, 4 mana off. Will Ceron get the last hit here? This is crucial for him. And he does get it and gets the level 2 there. But now low Keeper of the Grove, there's almost a coil. He's almost at the threshold where he can die, and the block from the illusion. Nicely done from iNSUP there. Nice creep jack.
This is what we were talking about. We saw glimpses of this on Echo Isles already, where we've seen couple of nice blocks, but this one was really important. And after this little wisp coil dodge in the south, this block is the answer by iNSUP. Like, you think you can style on me, my friend? Absolutely not. This is what I am capable of.
Yeah, beautiful to see some little micro moves from both players. We see a Wisp going back towards that expansion that Ceron was just so eagerly creeping, so maybe an expansion attempt as soon as he has the resources, and he does already. So there's a Tree of Life coming up, so a very similar strategy, maybe the same strategy, I dare say, out of Ceron. If it works, or if it's broken, or something like that, you don't need to fix whatever it is. And the Huntress is going across the map. Keeper of the Grove, a lot of mana, could go for some Treants and some creeping here, and this could be a big item. Big mana potion, scroll the beast for those early huntresses. It looks like just a staff and going for some harassment here.
Exactly. It's kind of likely that there's gonna be surrounded by iNSUP, so getting a Staff of Tally is really nice. You can use it on Wisps as well. And again, he detonates while the coil is in the air. It's really great Warcraft by both of them. Level 3 for iNSUP. Of course, the coil's now more powerful. Walking into a Huntress meat grinder here.
And no coil. 10 mana off a coil right now. This could be a couple of kills, and these are crucial kills, especially if you need to deal with that early expansion of Ceron here. One really low, going down. Another one in the base, and there is gargoyles coming out, by the way. The second one actually not being chased down by these Huntresses, is a little bit sloppy there, but the second one, no, not quite the prize that Ceron wanted. Might actually lose a Huntress here, but 2 goals going down. Nice hide there. Lich comes out for a Nova, but is there Dust of Appearance? There is not, but there's no TP for Ceron either.
I thought for a second Ceron is a little overwhelmed, but he salvages the situation kinda nicely now if he's not losing that hunt. It is turning daytime in a bit, and of course iNSUP is super close to a shop, so reveal is ready. And that's another Huntress down. He got piercing damage against the Hunter as well, so he's switching it up. We see an Alchemist, so it's a different strategy by Ceron as well. Not going for the Naga, Carson. What does it tell us?
I think that he's a little less confident. Last game, he was very far ahead after holding that pressure, and then continued to pressure himself with that Naga. Was in iNSUP's face, kept fighting at the expansion attempt of iNSUP. So I think this game, it just shows that he doesn't feel he's as far ahead as he was last game. But now iNSUP with this weird one crypt gargoyle play. You know, the 2 heroes here might even just be enough to deal with these. The expansion going up, the Haunted Gold, or the Entangled Goldmine, rather, not quite entangled yet. But 1 ghoul going down, Archer going down, and is there enough here for Ceron to deal with these guards?
Yeah, this Garg, I guess. We haven't seen a second one. I think I saw this build by like TBC or something. There's an expo behind it. So he's distracting a little with the guard, maybe forcing a reaction or 2, and trying to establish that second base. It's a bare knuckle box fight right here. We trade everything.
Yeah, every ghoul for every Huntress is now an Archer in response to the Gargs, but they're not too strong in small numbers. Another one coming out to join just as her friend dies, but nice detonates as always from Ceron. I would really like to see it. A couple of Wisps going down, but at least the Entangled Goldmine doesn't look like it's at risk of being cancelled. Neither does the Haunted Goldmine for iNSUP, thanks to the pressure he's laying on Ceron right now, but the more Archers there is, the easier it is to deal with these gargoyles. So there is a little bit of a timer on iNSUP right now to do some damage here.
Oh, and he's blocking again wonderfully. Does he have a coil to finish this off? Doesn't seem like it, but Ceron is blocking himself a little bit, so there's no saving for this Huntress. Acid Bomb moved in. The Alchemist can, of course, attack air. That's the good thing about this usual melee hero. A little bit of an exception here. Gargoyle saved, almost saved at 4 HP, but man, Ceron also about to save 2 of these archers. It's only 1 in the end. Lich gotta be a little careful. But
yeah, there's 1 coil to save that Lich, but a little risky if there's almost an entangle.
Yeah, especially so close to the Moonwells. Oh boy, is there still a TP? Yes, there is, and this coil. Acid Bump again, but there was also another Nova, so he really wants these Huntress gone. Must
TP.
swap the TP. Exactly, takes this. Not the hunt with him. There we go, last second and long range TP. So, as the dust settles, we see that iNSUP is still on tier 2. He's still on 1 crypt. And this is still kind of weird.
It is a little bit weird, and we see Ceron responding by putting down a second Ancient of War. He's getting the improved bows for the range of his archers, and he's going to just be pumping archers in true elf main fashion. Just mass archers here. Similar to what we saw actually Arc doing yesterday against Kiwikaki. We'll see if he ends up going into that tier 3 tech. He can get a Priestess of the Moon. You can get the marksmanship for extra damage. And he's already got the Hunter's Hull for that +1 attack on the archers. And we know what beasts these can be.
Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of damage for sure. Unlucky End Snare on the very hurt Gargoyle. He's actually saving it. I thought it would be a little bit of a waste as the End Snare lasts quite some time. Acid Bomb is lethal, so this Gargoyle could also die. Maybe a little bit of an overextension for iNSUP trying to save this. Not even sure if the damage is enough. It actually is enough. So can he keep this air dominance, or will the archers just take over from now?
Interesting that Ceron is actually replacing these Huntresses. The way he was microing them before, it almost seemed like he kind of wanted to lose them, but wanted to get a little bit of value out of them. Because you don't want to spend too much Moon Juice on them, and they're not really useful at all against the Gargs. They're decent against the heroes, but really, now that he's rebuilding them instead of mass archers, it's kind of strange to me. But, you know, we should see iNSUP going into some sort of tech transition. And there's the second crypt, so just committing to Gargs here.
Exactly, he's not transitioning at all, and yeah, of course you need these Gargs and masses, otherwise they're really not that effective. Oh, going for the Alchemist now. Indeed, and he's just dead! Was there no staff ready? No, he doesn't have a staff. Oh, that could be a game changer right here. This is exactly the time that iNSUP needs to carry this series into Game 3. The expansion is protected. Narrow Tower, Spirit Tower will probably drop a Necropolis there as well. And he got the double crypt up to spend all his resources into more army. And I would love to see a tier 3. And this time, the Dark Ranger would be super effective.
Absolutely. And I like the timing for iNSUP. He kills the Alchemist. He knows the Alchemist is on level 1, and Ceron wants to creep it out. So he just goes back and immediately starts creeping himself. He knows Ceron can't really do much. Was he going to get Keeper level 4? Not going to help him so much. He really wants this Alchemist level 3. And now iNSUP's going to take all the camps away that he can in the time he has.
Okay. Usually with this Keeper Alchemist combo, you dominate the middle of the map and take both of these shops. We talked about this briefly yesterday. But this was absolutely not possible. There was just constant fights, and this is what this one Crypt Garg commitment by iNSUP got him. Keep the Knight of Busy and never let him grow too much.
Absolutely, and he's got a decent amount of Gargs now, can start to pressure these Wisps if he so chooses to. The Goblin Laboratory not crept out yet, so no opportunity for a Shredder to get some lumber, but nice Nova. That's a level 3 Lich now. iNSUP can really start to kite and get pickoffs without losing anything. As we see 2 archers going down, maybe a third. There is another Nova. 4, almost a 5th now, and this is great trades for iNSUP right now.
Absolutely nasty. This Lich doesn't even have the Orb of Corruption yet, but still these combos. Oh, gotta be careful now. Gets it though. Still has a heal scroll. Ceron is trying to somehow survive, trying to solve this somehow. Oh, there's an invul as well, my friend, and a coil. Boom, resulting in a kill. But Ceron can't find the openings anymore.
He just cannot trade it, and especially you were talking about this level 2 aura last game for the kiting, and it's really helping out iNSUP right now. He was able to get so many pickoffs there, only losing maybe a couple of gargoyles, but now with the tier 3 tech transition and probably a slaughterhouse, there it is. iNSUP can start to tech out of these gargoyles, and it looks like Ceron is still trying to counter them.
Scroll of the Beast found. This is gonna be a lot of damage. Needs probably detonate against it. What does he sell it immediately for? An invul or a heal scroll? Man, he got that heal scroll, he got that invul, but the invul is on cooldown. Gotta be a little careful here. 4 more seconds. If the focus fire is great, he's forced into that TP, but the invul is just off of cooldown. So if he's threatened now, he can pop that potion and he's safe again. I think it's a little accomplishment by Ceron that despite the expansion, he keeps iNSUP below 50 and always takes out 1 or 2 Gargs.
Yeah, it keeps those numbers down, and then the Huntresses can start to do a little bit more work on those heroes like we're seeing, forcing iNSUP back due to those low heroes. And at least he was able to force a couple of heal scrolls out. iNSUP has bought his 3rd heal scroll of the game. So Ceron's forcing some items out, forcing iNSUP to back off and creep his side of the map instead of taking all Ceron's creeps, which are almost gone, except for this lab and maybe the red camp in the future. He wants to go towards there, which he is going to take the lab now. And he did get the True Shot aura, by the way. I haven't mentioned that yet, but quite a good item for these archers.
Can save a little bit of gold on the Potom there if you want to. So heal scroll on Ceron as well. An Obsidian statue coming up next. Yeah, he gets... What? Is he going Destroyers? Yeah, against the Entangle, he's going Destroyers. I thought for a second, okay, Abomination with Disease Cloud will be great as well, but Ceron is focusing heavy on hero focus, so Destroyers first might be a great solution.
Yeah, Destroyers first, A-Bomb second. We see he has one queued up after the second statue at the other Slaughterhouse of the expansion, but that Destroyer form, definitely crucial just to have one well-microed in the back, save your heroes, save the Abominations, and definitely level 5 now for INSUP. These hero nukes are going to be nasty. Ceron has to be prepared at the moment. He's really not. No invulns, only heal scrolls, not even a town portal, which I imagine he's going to pick up right now. No, buys another heal scroll, so these heroes are really risky right now from Ceron.
Okay. Yeah, looks like he's pushing, right? Like,
yeah.
What can he do?
20 supply advantage, though.
Against the towers. Now, here's the shop. Yeah, okay, but is the supply worth so much? We'll see about that. Oh, the Zapper got sniped by iNSUP! That could have been the key moment here.
A lot of guards falling, but nice trade so far for INSUP, and so much mana on that Lich. There's also a Book of the Dead and not a lot of Wisps around for Ceron here. First Abomination gets entangled, no Destroyer up in the air yet, and Cyclone just to make sure there wouldn't be a coil, although there's no mana right now. And these archers starting to put in work. Nice heal scroll. Destroyer up in the air, but in range of all those archers, not going to last long. And this is a decent fight so far by Ceron.
Yeah, exactly. This Abomination just falls. Great Wands of the Wind, trying to counter nuke. Here's another Acid Bomb. Definitely nukeable, this DK, even though he is level 5 by now. And so many archers still up. It's a 50 versus 60 fight, and INSUP 300 gold can't really do too much. Disease Cloud is about to be ready. He has 2 Abominations queued. Maybe slipping in macro a little bit. More Abominations are coming from the main. Are they the savior against the squishy archers?
I think that Sapper kill for INSUP may have just saved him the game. He would have lost both those towers. Those towers did help to kill a lot of those Huntresses in the early stages of this fight. And now INSUP is holding on, but, you know, he's got those towers to fall back on. And huge Novas also to fall back on. Almost Lich level 5 now.
Ceron all of a sudden down to 56 and dropping. The Mercs are falling as well. This is a level 5 Lich, as you say. He can eat so much stuff and then Nova everything. He got the orb. These archers are turning into one-shots by now, saving the Destroyer. Feels like INSUP is definitely warmed up by now. And for Ceron, this is a little desperate. He's not moving away. He feels like this is the all-in push, but it's an all-lose situation.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad timing by Ceron. He was fighting a little bit before Destroyers popped out. Before that, oh, the Alchemist gonna go down in GG. Yeah, he was fighting a little bit before the Destroyers were popping out, a little bit before he had a massive Abomination. So a decent timing, but without killing those towers, without having the best positioning there, maybe just not the fight he wanted after all.
INSUP strikes back on Last Refuge. Soul Glider, what a nail biter this was.
Oh, man. That was a really good game. There were a lot of really key moments. I'm very surprised at the strategies that both players pulled out. Not used to INSUP going Google Garg for one. And Ceron with the tier 2 archers was pretty curious. I'm curious what you guys think about him staying on tier 2, not buying a staff. When he reached tier 2, he didn't have a staff the entire game, which I think is the best item for Night Elf. And then no tier 3 means no Potom, no marksmanship upgrade, and no Orb of Venom. So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think it was partly due to the Guard Caress as well, that he couldn't really afford it to go to tier 3 and kind of felt like, okay, the late game Undead with Destroyers, with Abominations, with high level heroes, I can't break that with anything I have, so I have to try this now. But I definitely agree that there would have been a great upgrades for Ceron, especially the Orb is just so good if you put it on multiple heroes especially. Yeah.
I think the other thing is he kept on replacing hunts.
Yeah.
Like I know a few hunts against the ghouls are very strong, but I feel like it maybe just constantly massing the archers might have been a better scenario. I'm not 100% sure though, but it felt like the hunts weren't as useful as he wanted them to be.
Yeah, they were also feeding quite a bit, right? And then it resulted in these 5/5 heroes that were absolutely dominating.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This is kind of new to the American stream, but before Game 3, we give the players a little time to breathe, and for us as well. The decision on the last game of Day 2 of DreamHack Summer is coming up in just 3 minutes. iNSUP versus Ceron. Back from the break, boys. It is a little bit of a miracle. The Americans go to Game 3. Unbelievable. So, Glider, who's gonna take it home now? We end up on Twisted Meadows.
I feel like iNSUP's warmed up, and this last game you can definitely tell that he's getting more in his element, more aggressive, and better micro. Things are coming together for him, so I give iNSUP the win here, but I think Ceron's going to put up a good fight.
If you had to bet on one pocket strat out of Ceron, what would it be?
I think he's just gonna keep playing keeper archers.
Okay. No pocket strat at all. Okay. We start the game. iNSUP pauses immediately, giving us 1 sec to fix the production thing. There we go. Okay, it's time to decide this on a legendary map that is Twisted Meadows. And now we're here. We're ready to call this. In the upper left, he was the favorite going into this series, trailing a bit, but great recovery on Last Refuge. For Oceanist Gaming and Canada, it's iNSUPERABLE. These plays by Ceron look nothing like his clan name suggests. For New Zealand, 0 effort, 1-1, it's Ceron. And Carson, look at that sneaky build at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, you mentioned pocket strategies, and you might be quite the prophet here, Neo. We see a Tavern Hero build, Ancient War the expansion. This could mean a very fast expansion. We can even see there's been a build in the past that Moon goes Moonwell into Tree of Life. I would have loved when I saw the yellow dot on my map. I was like, oh, he's doing it, because I only saw a single Moonwell, but not quite that risky. It is game 3, and we do have Insub scouting the base now. Gonna know it's a Tavern build. Gonna be able to look around with that Ghoul, prod around, see if he can find that Ancient War. He knows it's got to be somewhere.
So what hero is this gonna be? On this map, historically, we've seen a lot of Beastmaster, but that's like 2004-ish?
Yeah, I would bet on Beastmaster, personally.
I could kind of see a Panda, to be honest. If he's that influenced by Moon, as for example a Foggy is in Europe, Moon tried that against good micro undeads like Happy, and we've also seen it from Remind against Mike. We've seen a lot of Panda in this matchup recently, and you know, Remind living in Australia, not that far away from New Zealand, maybe a little influence spreading over.
Yeah, and he does know Insub's not going to go for any sort of weird fiend opener, so the Panda's going to be very strong against these ghouls that he knows are coming, but the Death Knight is also on his way over. And the Panda, again, the Prophet, Neil, so smooth, so smart, so crisp, so clean. You called it, and the Ghoul is going to call out these archers that are trying to creep the expansion. This Panda needs level 3. Insub's not going to give it to him, it doesn't look like.
Carson, do you know how happy I am that a co-caster is finally mentioning my brilliance? It took like 6 years, but finally it happened. Thank you so much. Just joking. I love Remo, obviously. Yeah, how much pressure can Insub do against this Panda on level 1 to creep this expansion finally?
Yeah, I think, you know, the Panda can definitely hold his own on level 1 against the Death Knight, but there's no mana burn, and that could mean a lot of dead Wisps, could mean a lot of dead Archers, but we see the 3rd Moonwell before tech, and it's 2 Ancient War Huntresses, so maybe Ceron just going to play a little bit passive, wait to get the Death Knight out of his face. He should scout the main to make sure there's not any shenanigans coming his way. Has to be ready for those dual crypt, but it's not going to be, we know. But a little lazy on the scouting so far, and Insub maybe going to drag the creeps here, and this could cause a lot of harm for Ceron here.
Okay, not that easy to creep here. Engine of War, of course, tanking. Is there anything moving over? Oh yeah, baby. The Ghoul gang is moving towards Ceron's base. And this is a lot of damage. There's no Whispers. He's trying to burn the creeps to get at least something done.
Oh, no.
But Ceron is definitely losing this Engine of War. This... Maybe you should take that profit back.
I think Insub actually helped him there by pulling the creeps away if he had just stayed there attacking. But, you know, Ancient War doesn't matter if you kill all the archers that it's produced already. And there's one going down, another one definitely going to go down, no mana burn. And here comes the ghouls from the top, and the block almost perfect there, but he could get that archer down. But no, just going to go for the Ancient War that is now rerouted. So this could be a hard task for Insub here.
That was expensive, though. Now trying to get the mass hunts to work. Insub is teching, as far as I can see that. Let's take a look in the main. Yes, we see that tech. 60% graveyard now, still waiting for that second crypt. He's asserting quite some dominance, and the Panda on level 1, like, what can he really do? He's gonna be good against the School Gang, but not overwhelmingly great. He needs level 3 so desperately, and Insub is taking the big creeps away.
That's so smart from Insub to take the one camp that this Ancient War is planted by, and this is the level 2 for the Panda. And once you get level 2, you know, you can get a few picks, you can slowly sneak your way up to level 3, but if you're stuck on 60 experience right now with no kills, what are you going to do with this Panda? Twisted Meadows is such a hard map to creep on when you're under pressure like that. That's why Human always vetoes Twisted Meadows, and the Archers are slowly following. And look at the block again, there's a 3rd Archer going down. The Panda has yet to get any pickoffs. And the Ghoul is just going to be microed away.
These blocks are so good. It took him some time, but now it's finally here. We haven't seen the crazy surrounds yet, but he definitely got some kills. And yeah, this creep pull towards the archers, that cost 2. This block cost 1. That's a heavy losses for Ceron for sure. And Insub not going Gargs as it seems, just queuing the tier 3.
Yeah, I think he could just hit a clean tier 3 timing with that Naga 3rd, maybe get a destroyer up in the air to deal with any future bears, but it doesn't look like there's any tech anytime soon. Ceron going to expand with an Ancient Protector, but this could be really tough for Ceron to hold any future timings. If iNSUP manages to get that Death Knight level 3, get his Pry Hero, get his Orb unlocked, there's not really much Ceron's going to do. And iNSUP knows exactly what's going on. He knows that Ceron's just picking up the scraps right now, creeping a green cam.
Yeah, that's all he can do with this Panda. Sometimes you can take bigger cams with like Drunken Haze when there's a bigger miss chance, and you got Hunts with AoE that help creeping as well. But yeah, that's all he can do with that level 1 right now. And iNSUP, especially once he gets the Lich and the Orb, he can either pressure really hard or creep up the Storm and get these sweet undead high level heroes again.
Yeah, and if he gets those undead heroes, you can just nuke the Panda, deal with him. You get that Coil, you get that Nova, maybe a Fork Lightning in the future, and what is the Panda going to do? He needs to get in a difficult position to really get those key breaths of fire off, and you're nuking him all day. What are you going to do? But the Panda, level 2.5 now, one more decent-sized creep camp, and it will be level 3, but what are you going to take if you're in Ceron's position, especially when iNSUP got level 3, is marching over with the Ghoul Gang, as you pointed out, and he's coming for some surrounds. He's coming for the cancel. The AP is here, but is the AP enough?
Yeah, I'm really curious if this is a great timing or a little bit of an anti-timing, because he invested into the tier 3. It didn't pay off. The Lich is with him from tier 2, but no Orb, no Frenzy, no Destroyers. On the other side, this might be the last moment where he's not facing level 2 Breath of Fire from the Panda.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I'm still looking to see if he's going to try and defend this expansion, but it doesn't look like it. But the AP might just be enough. Nice Coil Nova on the first Huntress there. The Ancient War might go down to the creeps if not micro correctly. And the tech has come through, but with only Huntresses, it's going to be really tough here to defend.
Yeah.
Forces are under attack.
Curious about that as well. The Panda's still 1/3 away, and iNSUP is just not leaving him alone. He has to use his mana again, draining the Moon Juice. And Frenzy is coming. Statues are coming. He gets Backpack for that Orb. I love that, so he doesn't have to move all the way back into the base, especially on a big map like Twisted. Just put the Orb into a Fiend, carry it over, just like Dota.
Yeah, beautiful. iNSUP does do that very commonly. I love to see somebody actually utilizing that upgrade.
It feels like
Panda level 3. Yep.
A lot of casters are always screaming about it, like, use that Backpack, it's so good. But yeah, it's an ability that's almost forgotten in competitive Warcraft, especially for Orcs. But when we see it, it's pretty damn good. Can he steal that with the last hit? That would be crazy against this damage. No. And since he can't, this is finally level 3. This is what he wanted all game long.
He finally gets it. A little low on mana, not quite the items he wants. A little bit more tankiness and some damage, but you know, at the end of the day, you really want those mana items. You need those Sobi Masks, those Pendants of Energy, those Mantle of Intelligence. Not that there's any on this map. And here's a Naga for iNSUP, and this is a scary timing. The Panda is level 3. Is there a shop of anywhere? No, he's trying to build it, but it's not up yet.
Okay, no staff, obviously. Oh, now there is, or there should be. Creep check opportunity for Ceron. Does he feel ready? Does he want to go to the tavern? Does he want to go for a run by? Man, iNSUP is really unlucky with these items, by the way. Yeah. Ring, Boots of Kel'Thuzad. I think we saw a Talisman of Evasion there. He's kind of trading it now for double heal scroll. And that is indeed a little bit of a run by. With this Breath of Fire, you can do good damage to the structures in the base.
I like this from Ceron. This is very smart. What Panda does do is really good against buildings, and you don't normally have that as the Night Elf player. And he's just going straight for the main. Does iNSUP have the time to kill this Ancient Protector, all the Wisps, and the Tree of Life before his main goes down? You can't really repair against the bouncing glaives of the Huntresses. He's trying to upgrade towers, but there's a couple more Breaths of Fire in the tank, and the Ghouls are going down. Look at the Breaths of Fire, Neo. The Acolytes are dying too, and he's forced to upgrade towers with no economy. Now TPing, but he couldn't kill the Tree of Life. This is beautiful from Ceron here.
Counter TP, exactly. And this is such a smart move, as you point out, because of course there's advanced economy for Ceron. He's mining from 2 bases. He was repairing a little. He lost this AP, but he's still mining from 2 bases. And iNSUP pretty much had the same, almost the same expenses. He has to reproduce a couple of Acolytes. He has to repair as well. And it's a Town Portal gone for both. So if you have like a 1-for-1 trade and you're a base up, that's always good for you.
Another Tree of Life coming up in the bottom. Very Moon-esque here. We mentioned that Moon was the first one to do this Panda strategy, and he's expanding like Moon as well. 1 in the bottom. He's getting Nature's Blessing. Wouldn't be surprised to see more in the future before he breaks 50 supply, and just going to continue to do this hit and run. Would like to see a shop, though. Panda a little bit low on mana, and he's going to catch INSUP out here, but can INSUP fight?
Yeah, that's the question. When are these hunts falling off real hard? Like any second, the undead army is getting stronger and the hunters are getting weaker. At the moment, there's still some ghouls. The hunters do have some value, but just look at the crowd control with Nova, Frost, Arrow, Fork Lightning even as an additional nuke. He's picking up these hunters one by one. So either you continue with these run-bys or you have to switch up your tech.
Forces are under attack.
Yeah, we have seen in the past Moon go for some sort of just, hiding 3 Chimera Roosts can always be strong. I mean, if you can get those, I know the Twitch chat loves when they see that. And 3 Huntresses, this is smart from Ceron. He's splitting 3 hunts. The Tree of Life has Nature's Blessing. He's going to creep out this expansion. Even if maybe he loses 1 Huntress here, not the end of the world. He's going to pressure into the main base. But there's 3 Spirit Towers in the main base. That deals with Huntresses pretty well, if you ask me.
Yeah, so the potential for any run-by is also kind of gone now. And the thing is, the laboratory in the north is already opened up by this Panda, so there's definitely potential for sappers. Ceron tried this before, maybe he can reverse this. It's a lot of damage on that Tree of Life. Once again, a little bit of a game of chicken. The Panda's already pretty hurt, so even if he portals in, he's just getting nuked. He has to give up that base.
Under siege.
Yeah, but one falls, another one rises. The Hydra of Expansions and the Pendant of Energy and Helm of Intelligence to boot. Not too bad. Creeping there from Ceron. One going to go down. INSUP's happy with that. Probably going to go towards the main base. The question is, Ceron can't push INSUP's bases 4 Spirit Towers, Neo. Every Ziggurat's a Spirit Tower. So can Ceron defend?
Yeah. That was really expensive for INSUP, though. Like, he wants to be, like, triple sure that nothing is happening to his base. He lost the shop. That's a little annoying. There's also, of course, now no statues anymore. But INSUP pushing forward, level 4 takes out these Moonwells, and now Ceron is supply stuck at 54.
You kind of need to go for sappers here if you're Ceron, but you can't get them if you're supply stuck. And all the Moonwells are falling, and this Panda's already hurt. No way to heal up. Ceron just has to go for the main, and that he's doing. He's got to force INSUP back. Nice Breath of Fire. He could sacrifice all these Acolytes, but he cannot, or all these Huntresses, but he cannot lose the Panda. Is there a TP in for INSUP? He's probably just going to try and trade the main base, but Ceron can repair. INSUP cannot. These Acolytes falling one after the next. And is there enough Huntresses here to deal with this main base of INSUP?
Game of chicken. I'm really curious how Ceron wants to break the towers, but the thing is, if he portals back to save his Tree of Ages, he's just going to get nuked on his heroes. He's so low, he's almost dying to the towers here. Constant replenish of these Acolytes. So what's the way out for Ceron? INSUP has had enough. Counter TP. That was Ceron's plan. Dodging that nuke. And that was quite smart. In the meantime, he is mining from that base in the bottom left, and his tree is still standing. He did lose a lot of structures here, but in the end, it feels like it's still kind of okay for Ceron.
He definitely needs to get some Moonwells. Not only is he supply stuck, but this Panda's hurt with barely any mana and has no way to heal up right now. And his main base not mining. He's got a couple of Wisps around the map, but his lumber's not as good as he would like it to be.
True. He needs more Moonwells, man. Desperately. INSUP pushing forward. Is this too much? It's like waves and waves and waves crashing at this Tree of Ages. Very fitting for his clan Ocean is for sure. And that is the tree. Finally gone.
INSUP no TP here, but the towers may hold their own. And as soon as this tree is dead, INSUP knows something's going on here. He knows there's got to be another expansion.
Yeah, and the thing for INSUP is, if he loses too many Acolytes here, he can't really rebuild them. He's unsummoning the Slaughterhouse to get more resources. Town portal in now. The Panda is nothing! Oh no!
And that's probably it. He can't break this main base. He's got an expansion, but that was a nice play from INSUP. He saw there's no TP. He couldn't afford the town portal himself, but the staff is less than half the gold. And he's killing all the structure in the main base. All he needs is Death Knight, and the main base goes down. Oh. Wait, is there no Acolytes?
No, there's
no Acolytes,
There's no Acolytes! What is happening? I keep mentioning this in some casts. NA, the Americas are so entertaining, and Ceron is fighting with 13 supply, but he's losing his altar, and he doesn't have the resources for the Tavern revive.
He is mining with 5 and has lumber and the supply for it. If he can get the Panda back, but the Panda comes back from the Tavern, no mana, half health.
Oh my god.
But if he can get it back, maybe get another Moonwell up somewhere. Pen of Energy going to be stolen by Insup.
Sweet.
And he finds the Tree of Life.
Okay, what's his army? Oh, the panda's back. No mana, but he's back. 1, 2 ghouls, 2 fiends, 2 statues. As long as he keeps this statue up, there's definitely a big chance for Insup to take this. To take this. What can the panda do to break these 4 towers? Constant Breath of Fire, but how do you get mana?
If he had a shop here or something, but he wouldn't have tier 2 tech anyway for it, I think Ceron really needed to get a Tree of Life up at another spot if he's going to play like this.
The town is
Right
under
now,
siege.
he's got the gold, he's got the supply with these Huntresses dying to eventually go into some sort of
forces
sappers.
are under
But the
attack.
Death Knight and the Lich very smartly just chasing this panda around. There's no way to defend anything, even against just the Naga.
Oh my god. The panda, what can he get? 450 gold. The Invis Potion! No reveal, obviously. No dispel.
Yeah, he could go for sappers. He's got the gold for at least 1. If the Tree of Life or the Moonwell dies, he will not have the supply. But he's got the gold for a Tree of Life as well, and wisps around the map to build another one, maybe in his main base or, you know, out as a ghoul on the other expansion too. So yeah, it looks like he's gonna go for sappers here.
Okay. Hail Mary by Ceron. 8 supply. That's a panda, the sapper, like
The town
3
is
wisps
under
or something.
siege.
There's no cold tower though. The panda can get a Breath of Fire off, and the sapper cannot be slowed. So Insup has to be very on point here. There's the Breath of Fire. Here comes the sapper. Is Insup on point? No, he's too slow. Oh my god. Just on time. That was so close.
And that is
GG.
it. The Hail Mary didn't work. He fumbled with that. And Insup in the winner bracket final after a crazy fight. Fair play by Ceron saying good luck versus him.